Alright, continuing on with Brandywine and Germantown. Things are finally starting to move around a little bit. As you can see here, the Americans have started moving out of these original positions where they originally started back at kind of that junction there, close to where that artillery piece is, which is one of the entrenched positions that the artillery will soon be moving out of. Now that we're into up to about the 12:20 turn, I believe. Yep. All of Sullivan's division has been unfrozen, and I believe actually, and I think I forgot to do this on the last turn, I think now starting at 11 a.m. One American division unfreezes each turn, so some of these guys down here in these other fixed positions can start unfreezing. You can see here on the American order of battle, there's Sullivan, which is the 1st Maryland Brigade and the 2nd Maryland Brigade, and then we've also got Maxwell's New Jersey Brigade, along with Conway's 3rd Pennsylvania Brigade. So that may have been, because I believe I unfroze Sullivan's 2 brigades in the 11 a.m., or rather in the 10 a.m. period when you could start unfreezing more units. Or I may have started doing individual units on the Maryland Brigade and then unfroze that whole division at the 12 noon turn. So I think with the 12:20 turn, it should be all of the 3rd Pennsylvania Brigade there unfrozen. Although I've already moved them. So yeah, I've completely lost track now of who I actually unfroze and when. As it turns out, I may have sort of allocated for that by cheating myself on my road movement. You can see these guys here up by Birmingham Hill. They've moved all along this road stretch here, which is the Creek Road, from all the way back here. But it turns out they could have moved a lot further. I've been shortchanging myself on the road movement. All these guys are in road column, and I've ended up moving them a half, counting each road space as a half a movement point, when the reality is on minor roads in this scenario, every 2 hexes you move on a minor road is half a point. So I've been kind of doing it as 2 hexes equals a full movement point, when it should be 2 hexes is a half movement point. So these guys could have actually moved twice as far as they did in the time that I moved them. So I guess I'll look at that as a wash. If I unfroze a few more brigades than I should have in the past 2 turns, I'll look at it as, well, I moved them half as far. So we'll just consider that a wash there instead of trying to retcon it in some way. But in the next turn, one of these divisions down here should be able to free up, since I'm considering Alexander's division here as already unfrozen, although Nash here with the North Carolina Brigade has some special rules that I need to re-review. And you can see the Light Infantry Brigade here has actually mostly been destroyed. You can see there the Chester County Militia is already dead, and the Light Infantry A is the one, actually, I'll have an update here on that. They got away. Light Infantry B is going to end up getting destroyed. So it looks like I should be able to unfreeze Wayne's division, and then Green's division, and then Stevens' division, and Armstrong finally. So over the next 4 turns, those guys will all get unfrozen, and then by the time we reach 2 o'clock, everybody should be unfrozen. I guess if you can do that every turn, we'll be, we're 6 turns away from the 2 p.m. turn. Yeah, I guess five turns away. So yeah, everybody will be unfrozen by then. So what ended up happening down here with our American Light Infantry Brigade that was causing so much trouble for the British, they are finally about to be completely dislodged. There is one unit left here, and that is these guys here, the Light Infantry B Battalion. They're down to 1 strength point and are disordered. Still behind their entrenchments there in the hex they started in. But they never were able to finally kill off the 4th Regiment of Foot, so the 4th Regiment hangs on with 1 strength point. But as you can see here, some of the 2nd Brigade units have now moved up. This here are the Queen's Rangers. I just consolidated them back into a line formation with their full strength unit, as opposed to broken down into their skirmish battalions. And then there's the 1st Rifle Corps, which is permanently in skirmish. Their default setting is skirmish. You can move them into line. You'd actually have to put a marker on them to indicate that they're in line. But I've left them in skirmish. They've continued to provide that flanking fire that's been pretty devastating. The last round where I activated the 2nd Brigade and these 2 guys as independent commands ended up having like a 4-to-1, darn near 5-to-1 fire advantage on this unit here, and so and then I rolled like a 92, so that did 3 points of damage to them. Added an extra 10 to their morale check, and I think their morale check was at like 64, but they rolled an 80 something on their morale check, so their morale held. They are still there. This disorder ended up, and they took a fire during the American turn, or the American phase for that command. They fired on this hex here and got a special result that resulted in no effect, and firing unit is disordered, so that's why they're disordered. But they'll be dead next turn, and then that will kind of finally unlock this position, and the 1st Brigade and 2nd Brigade, actually the 2nd Brigade is kind of lined up here and ready to go. All of the other units of the 2nd Brigade that aren't currently fighting, the units over here, and I think there's only 1 actual regiment of the 2nd Brigade engaged now. The other 3 are here. They will probably funnel down this road and sort of wait here. And the 1st Brigade will probably go that way. One thing I did discover was that the 71st Brigade over here, I guess it's the 71st Regiment, not the actual 71st Brigade. These are these huge units. There's a 10 strength unit and two 10 strength units. I thought, oh, these guys will be good. They'll provide some weight that will help me kind of recover from the 16 strength points that I lost fighting the American Light Brigade there. And as it turns out, the 71st actually is guarding the supply train. They can't move within 8 hexes of any American unit. So I'd initially moved them further up the road here, and then when I went back and read that rule, I realized, well, shit, I got to move them back 8 hexes away from the nearest American unit, which is still that Light Brigade or Light Brigade Battalion there. So these guys aren't actually going to be able to engage the American forces at all. They are just here for show. So disappointing, because that's 20 strength points that the British could really use after getting chewed up by the Light Brigade. Although in reading about the battle, I guess the Maxwell's Light Brigade did in fact do a lot of casualties to the British. They inflicted about 300 casualties on them, and I forget what the breakdown was of the strength points in this. It might be 50 men. I think they halved the strength point amounts for the American Revolution games in this series. I think usually in the other bar series games, the strength points are 100 men per strength point. I think here it's 50. So, if it was 16 strength points of That would be 1,600 men if it was 100 men each. So, have that. So about 800 men, which is still more than the 300, way more than the 300 that were actually inflicted. But that was the actual casualty count from that skirmishing with the American Light Brigade, and just in Kniphausen's men just getting to the actual western edge of the creek. But as you can see here, they have now, the Hessians have all moved up to the river's edge here. The approach on this road here is in fact within line of sight, as far as I can tell, of this American. It might actually be, is it this one here? I forget which one. No, this one. Of this American artillery position. So there have been a couple of shots as these artillery batteries have moved up here to deploy. But it's at such extreme range, it's on the 1 to 3 table. So they pretty much have to roll a 99 or 100 to really do actual damage here. So all of this deploying artillery hasn't actually been hit. And the infantry I was moving out of the line of sight, this forest hex here kind of shields these infantry units from that movement. And once they're off the road, then they're no longer eligible for the opportunity, for the full range opportunity fire of the American guns. They have to be using road movement to be eligible for that. So getting off the road makes them invisible again in terms of opportunity fire. So you can see I've actually got a couple of 2 hex lines here, which I haven't had much occasion to use, but these are these huge 11 strength point Hessian units. And so in order to get a maximum fire value per hex value out of them, because this particular scenario caps the inline strength point max firing amount at 6. So you want to break those any units bigger than 6. You want to try and break into a 2 hex line. So that's what I did with the Hessians, although there's no real need to here. I'm just sort of practicing utilizing it, because I haven't had to up to this point use any 2 hex lines. So it's more for practice than practicality. There's no real reason why these guys, they're not actually going to be doing any firing, because the American units over here are currently frozen, and then even when they're unfrozen, they're not going to be moving to engage across the creek. They'll just stay in their defensive positions. Although I may end up, moving these guys here to consolidate them into more of a line across the main road here, the Nottingham Road. These guys down here feel a little bit out of position to me, because the British are not going to be crossing down here at Piles Ford, or there at the Gibson Ford. Both of those seem unlikely points for me in terms of trying to cross, because this just, here at Gibson's Ford, this seems like a real gauntlet here to try and get through. I mean, these American forces could line up here on this ridge, just move forward, line up on this ridge, and just own this road right here. So seems like a very bad position to try and move the British over to try and cross. So I will probably stick with trying to get the British across at the ferry here and to Chad's Ford, even though Chad's Ford is blocked. And as you can see, currently occupied by the last strength point of the A Battalion of the Light Infantry Regiment. Maxwell himself was stacked with that unit, and he has since run on up the road here. You can see him here. He actually got wounded, then came back around noon, and has been running up along the road here to rejoin with the New Jersey Battalion, New Jersey Brigade, which is currently under a generic commander. Maxwell has kind of special rules around him that he can either activate the Light Infantry Brigade or the New Jersey Brigade, or both during his activation. The commander here, this guy, can only command one or the other. He can't do both, so that was Maxwell's special ability. So fortunately I got Maxwell out of there. He didn't get captured or killed. That A battalion of the Light Infantry Brigade was actually, as you can see here, they weren't completely surrounded. There were a couple of empty hexes there. And that Light Infantry Brigade, when it routed, was able to route out through that little hole through the B battalion there. And the B battalion did not have to check morale owing to the special skirmish rule that skirmishers can retreat through skirmishers and not inflict a morale check on the unit that's being routed through. So, but what did happen was they had to lose a couple of strength points from retreating through Ezox. So that's why they're down to 1 strength point, because they finally broke and routed. I got a big special result here that allowed me to that ended up killing the strength points of the artillery that was there, that intrinsic artillery that was in the entrenched space, because I thought, I rolled this accurate fire response that got me, that allowed me to determine, and I rolled a 2 strength point loss, and then it was the 2 strength point loss it was the accurate fire result that allowed me to re-roll and then assign the strength points to the losing unit. Well, as it turns out, I misread the chart. Not surprising, considering all the things that I've missed so far in this game. But it was I think it was here. Re-roll and apply strength point loss to any unit in the target stack. And so I re-rolled and got like a super high roll that got me a 2 strength point loss. So I was like, well, I'm going to kill that artillery. So I applied both to the artillery. Well, I got way ahead of myself and realized that's from the artillery fire special result table, not the infantry fire special result. So as you can see, there is no loss assignment result for the infantry fire. So by the time I realized that, I had already moved everything out, done the extra, the Ezoc retreat, strength point losses and everything for the American unit, and I thought, I don't want to go and remove everything back. So, those guys were going to end up dead anyway. I actually had 2 special results on that roll, and the first one was double fire strength result and re-roll. Then I got the second special result, which was re-roll on the one that I misread as assign those strength point losses to any unit. So I had a couple of kind of screw ups there. But the way I figure it, the British could have used a break at this point. So that's what ended up happening. But it did allow Maxwell to get out of there and stay alive and run up the road to rejoin the rest of his command. Which at this point now, knowing that Cornwallis is going to be arriving, and I think Howe's with him, is going to be arriving in a couple of hours. These guys have moved over. As you can see, they're over there towards Birmingham Hill. Probably move somebody over to Meeting House Hill just to cover these other roads that are moving south in case Cornwallis tries to spread his forces out along this road here and try and hit kind of both major routes to the south. So I will, undoubtedly have to move additional commands, not just those guys and the New Jersey Brigade down here, but probably somebody else's division from these units down here is going to have to move up, and maybe more inclined to do so, knowing that the 1st British Brigade back here took so many losses. So we'll see how it goes. As you can see down here, I'm starting to deploy some artillery, although realizing now here that I probably shouldn't have put my battalion guns at the actual firing position here where they've got a line of sight onto the American positions. Given that the battalion guns are a little bit weaker, I've got, as you can see, I've got Cleveland, who was a Major General Cleveland or whatever, this guy back here who's the Special Artillery Commander. He can command these artillery field guns as independent commands, and he himself is attached to any British command you choose at any time. What I should have done was leave those spaces open there where I unlimbered these battalion guns, and I think these guys should actually be facing like that. Probably should have left these spaces open and let the field artillery move in there, just because it's stronger and it'll probably have a better chance of actually bombarding some of those American positions there. But we'll see. At this point, it's just going to be the infantry sitting back here, and it's going to turn into the artillery duel until 4 p.m. or so, once Howe's men and Cornwallis's flank march or flank column finally get onto the map. So we've got a couple of hours of going to be relative inactivity, especially once these British are just kind of sitting in a big line waiting to cross the creek. They're not going to be doing much except firing. Most of the moving and maneuvering and positioning over the next several hours is all going to be the Americans moving around trying to figure out how best to defend that flank. So I may take a break turn-wise. I've been doing it pretty regularly at hour turn intervals here. For some of these turns where very little actual combat will be happening and it's mostly going to be maneuvering, we'll probably consolidate a lot of those videos together and maybe not do another video until Cornwallis actually appears on the map. But we'll see. Just as a little bonus note, I ended up originally, you can see I've got some Clash of Arms games stacked down there on the right side of that shelf, and I had all the other bar games down there too, but it felt like, given how much I've been enjoying Brandywine, that relegating them to near floor status didn't seem appropriate, so I have given them a more prominent place up there next to the AWE games. Fortunately, these bar boxes are a little bit smaller than your average wargame box, such as like a GMT or whatever. So they were able to fit nicely into the narrower shelf, where I end up usually having to stack games like the AWE ones, which are stacked on top of each other. But the bar ones actually fit pretty nicely lengthwise into the space, so I sort of gave them more of a position of prominence on the display. Although you can see there's no slouches down here in terms of what I sacrifice space for. My copy of Magic Realm there and Siege of Jerusalem. But those old, big, thin box Avalon Hill titles don't fit particularly well onto shelves, and so it felt like kind of an unruly stack there, and I do like neater boxes fit together, as you can see in general from the rest of the shelves. I like more of a book-like ability to organize games, as opposed to having to, like down here, just have kind of with my magazines and stuff, of having big uneven stacks. So just a little bonus shelf porn there for the end of the video.